What's going on, YouTube? In this video, let's talk about why people are broke. Well, more importantly, why rich on paper but broke in reality. The high income poverty trap. This is more geared to doctors, lawyers, because a lot of them have high salaries, but they're actually broke. They're actually one paycheck from being in the poorhouse. And in this video, I'll explain more in detail. Now, I'm YB or Dong, and I spend a lot of time studying about finances, research, and I talk to a lot of doctors and lawyers due to business and due to my work relation. So here's the thing you need to understand why this matters to you. Well, this matters to you because this shows you that just because you have a big paycheck, right? You have this giant paycheck of $250,000, $400,000 a year, and you are living paycheck to paycheck. And I'm trying to help you avoid this situation so that you can become wealthy and retire in a better situation. Now, here's the thing. They are rich on paper. They have a high income. They look good. But to be honest, it's just for show. It's not real wealth. And the thing about it, you have to understand just because you have a high salary does not mean you're going to be wealthy. That's just how it works. You can be rich because you're making that much money. You can buy luxury things. You can enjoy life. But once you lose your job, it's over. You're back to being poor. Now, here's the thing I want to tell you about this. Here's the key takeaways you need to understand this video. The anatomy of lifestyle creep. The psychological triggers that cause this. The solution and redefining wealth. It's the 4 key takeaways. So let's go through with these takeaways so you can get an understanding. And the anatomy of lifestyle creep. High earners don't just spend on lattes.
Lifestyle creep is a real thing. Nothing wrong with you having a growing life as you've had more success, but do it like all things in moderation, because what you don't want to do is start having those mental gymnastics that you do is that, hey, I got a pay raise. You know what? I could afford that car. And then, I could afford that bigger house. You do this.
They lock themselves in fixed costs like mortgages, luxury car leases, and private school tuition. Now, the latte is not what making them broke. It's their lifestyle creep that caused this. And that goes into the psychological trigger. The intense job stress leading to soothing spending, luxury vacation, takeout to compensate for the deferred gratification during the training years. And here's the thing you need to understand about this. They're making $60,000, spent 8 years, 12 years in school, and guess what? They're making $60,000 a year. And they finally get their real doctor salary of $150,000, $250,000, $300,000, counting off their surgeon, general practice. But let's say they make $250,000. Well, guess what they do? Now they want the doctor car. Now they want the doctor house. And guess what? Those lock you in. Your lifestyle went from $60,000 to $150,000, $200,000 a year because you purchase things without thinking about it. And here's the thing I want to tell you. The solution to this is the lifestyle lag. To build true wealth, earner must decouple spending for their income. The strategy to keep expenses for the first 2 to 5 years flat after the salary increase. Using that surplus to pay off debt, because most doctors have $250,000 in student loan debt, and to invest. That's the solution to all this. Now, the big part is we need to redefine wealth to get a better understanding for this. True wealth is not high income.
Listen to me carefully. There is only one wealth in your life. things that you wear, things that you stored up. This is not your wealth, this is just a headache. The only wealth that you have in your life is the profoundness of your experience of this life.
But autonomy for the ability to work on your own terms, achieving by reaching to a point where your investment income exceeds your expenses. And that's the real wealth. At the end of the day, you can make 250,000, but if you have to continue working 6 days, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, just to afford what you're doing and where you're living, is it really freedom? Now, how does this affect you? Well, I'll give you an example. 25% of doctors, after working all these years, only have less than $1 million. So most of them don't even have a network of $1 million. Well, 25% of them. And you're making $250,000, $300,000 a year. And you used all that money, and I'm going to give you an example of what happens. It's picking on doctors. Lawyers do this too. They get their first large paycheck. They often engage in soothing spending to relieve stress, to compensate for what they sacrificed and made in their 20s, specifically to cope with emotional depletion from long hours. Doctors, lawyers may spend money on convenience like vehicles, expensive takeouts because they're too tired to cook at home, luxury resort vacation to escape reality, and furthermore, they might buy a luxury vehicle because that's their only getaway and their only alone time. And they buy an expensive car, and that's their sanctuary. And some doctors even spend money to do what you call a imposter syndrome, drive by high earning spend. I'm a doctor, I can afford this Mercedes. It's a status quo thing, but at the end of the day, it caused their lifestyle creep to go up as much as their salary. Now, if you want to avoid this and understand this is how you avoid this lifestyle creep, this trap that a lot of these high earners fall for. You implement lifestyle lag, keeping your fixed costs, rent, mortgage, car payment flat for the first 2 to 5 years after receiving a raise rather than immediate increasing spending. Let's say you got your first doctor or lawyer job, you just made fellowship, and they offer you $250,000 a year. And that's awesome, great. You went from $60,000 to $250,000, and guess what? You increase your cost of living to $100,000. That's still a pretty decent living. You might not be living the best life, but $100,000 is still a lot of money, especially that's $40,000 more. So you increase your living just by $40,000, even worst case scenario, $120,000. Now, what do we do with the rest of that money? Well, if you spend that time paying that large debt student loan off, that's $100,000 a year you can put on your student loan. In 2 to 5 years, that student loan is gone, and you won't have to worry about it. Now, that's what I recommend to implement. Now, the other things that could help you do this is automatic saving. Set up a system where surplus income, expenses, and investment will go out automatically without you direct involvement. Pick good investment and use this to pay off debt. Maybe your student loan debt is $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $5,000 a month. I don't know what your payment is. You make double that every month, and then you put a matching at your hospital just to get that debt paid off. And guess what? In those, after 2 to 5 years, you won't even be thinking about it. You just get the certain amount of money you get to live off of. $100,000, $120,000, the rest is going to pay off debt. You'll be fine. you'll be wealthy at the end of this. Now, here's the thing you need to avoid is high cost status symbol. Resisting pressure to buy expensive house, luxury car, sending your kids to private school to simply for social signaling. And I see this happen all the time in the hospital. A doctor, a brand new surgeon, came on, his salary's $500,000. He gets commission. He goes by a Ferrari, $1 million mansion. And this is all for a status symbol because he says, I'm a surgeon. At the end of the day, this dude was broke. I seen his car get repoed. I seen his house get repossessed. He still made great money. But what happened? He ended up in a divorce. He attracted all the wrong people, and he'll spend his money in luxury that he could not afford. So that's why you need to avoid these high cost status symbol. Now, what you could do is adopt value-based spending. Instead of asking what your peers are buying, calculate the cost of item for a freedom unit. How many extra shifts you have to work to pay for that item? How much do you have to work to pay for that house? Because at the end of the day, you want to avoid being in debt. And lastly, on this about how to strategize out of it, educate yourself. You are well educated. You're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're making good money. Avoid high investment products. A bad financial advisor by understand the basic investment such as low cost index. You need to educate yourself. You make a lot of money, and this is what happens. Before I let you go, I'll give you an example. When a doctor receives their first paycheck, they often engage in soothing spending, which relieves stress and compensate for sacrifice made during their 20s. And let's take Dr. So-and-so making $250,000. And at the end of the day, in Texas, $250K Texas salary will get you about $179,000 a year. So that breaks down to about $15,000 a month. And here's the thing. You didn't listen to my advice and you went ahead and started purchasing these bigger items. And you increase your expenses. So let's give an example. You owe $250,000 and your student loan is $3,000 a month. Well, you are taking home in Texas $14,000 or $15,000 a month. That leaves you with $11,000. And then you bought $1 million mansion, which cost you $6,000 a month. Guess what that do? That brings you down to $5K left in your bank account. And guess what? You leased the expensive car and it costs you $1,500 a month. You only have $4,000, $5,000 left. So that leaves you with $3,500. And you put your kid in private school, which costs $4,000 a month because you have 2 kids. Guess what? Every month you are in a negative $500. So you have to pick up extra shift to afford this lifestyle. This is the reality of it. Now, if you made $300,000 because you're a surgeon or something, you take home pays $18,000 a month. And you're still barely making it because you are now have a fixed income monthly obligation of $14,500 a month. And if you made $300,000, okay, it leaves you with $3,500 a month to pay for food, electricity, water, insurance, emergencies. So this is where that lifestyle creep really hurts. So like and subscribe to my video. That's all I got for you. Hopefully that example helped, and hopefully this video wakes you up and understand how real wealth is built. It's from investing the difference from your salary.